Wildfires continue to rage on in Canada. I'm certified meteorologist Jonathan Kagas, and in this video, we are going to take a look at where those fires are currently burning and what that means for the wildfire smoke, not only in Canada, but for the United States. If you live in the eastern U.S. and you've seen a hazy or milky sky, it's likely because of these wildfires burning in Canada. As you might imagine, with all of that smoke in our atmosphere, that is going to have issues with air quality. We are going to take a look at the current air quality index and kind of forecast over the next couple of days where that smoke is going to reside, again, across the eastern two-thirds of the U.S. and then, of course, southern Canada. Here is the deal with these Canadian wildfires. You can look close on this map and you might notice some color starting to pop. I'm going to zoom in, but that is exactly what the satellite is picking up on these wildfires and tracking the progression here. So I'm going to zoom into Nova Scotia first. There's been a big one burning on the southern tip here, and where you see that red color, that is where the satellite is picking the fire as of this recording on June 3rd. There is the today marker. The lighter the color, that's the older part of the fire. So you can kind of see where the fire has progressed through parts of southern Nova Scotia. That yellow represents, again, where the fire was yesterday. So seemingly, we are seeing some improvements as the satellite picking up on where the fire is today. I will show you the actual hotspot tracker in just 1 second here. We can take a look at in real time where the hottest part of the fire currently sits, not only in Nova Scotia, but also back on into eastern Canada. This is going to be northwest of Montreal, but you can clearly see the higher concentration, and this will be more evident when I show you the smoke tracker for southern Canada and in the U.S. Look at all those little red dots. Those are active wildfires, and again, as we kind of peg there, it can show you where those fires are currently burning. And again, there are a lot up here just south of the Hudson Bay, north of us in Quebec. And again, a lot of them. We have more fires 3 days ago in the yellow there, and then more again closer to the Hudson Bay. It's just burning in some places out of control. Again, a very high concentration of those fires. I want to show you, again, going forward here, now the hotspot tracker. That is something, again, that's going to kind of show us where we actually have the heat being picked up by the satellites. We're going to go back to Nova Scotia first. And again, if you're watching from the U.S. and want to see the smoke in the sky, I will show you that momentarily. And if you are finding this content helpful, please give it a thumbs up. It really does help us out a lot. You see it there. Very hot. Of course, all fire is hot, but on our scale here, we're going from the satellite being able to see a hot fire to a very hot fire to extremely hot. So again, we are still seeing things raging here in southern Nova Scotia. So I'm going to take this back out now and just show you, again, where those fires are just south of the Hudson Bay. And again, we have a lot of those hot spots being picked up there by the satellite. I want to show you as well, again, if you've been watching from the United States, what we have going on here in terms of our fire and smoke kind of overlay. So you see the orange, red color on the screen. That is kind of what I just showed you there, where the fires are currently burning. Notice all the gray now. I'm going to zoom out. Look at how much of the United States is currently seeing wildfire smoke. A lot of this from those fires that are burning in Nova Scotia and then also in parts of Canada that are south of the Hudson Bay, but a lot of the United States inundated with those hazy skies, the poor air quality because of those wildfires that are raging on in Canada. The darker the gray there, the heavier the smoke is in your sky. So it's intense across a lot of the eastern two-thirds of the United States. Again, we were talking about it. As you might imagine, that is having big-time ramifications in terms of air quality. This is likely due to the in and around Boston, New York City. From Nova Scotia, we had that smoke kind of blowing out in this direction for the last couple of days, giving us some pretty poor air quality. We have our air quality index is moderate in and around Boston, a little bit worse than that as you head towards Long Island as well, that darker yellow popping up. And again, the scale is going to be right at the top of your screen there to kind of see for reference. Closer to that core of the wildfires, again, west of us in Montreal, west of us in Toronto, you see big air quality issues. This is going to be north of Buffalo. You have that very unhealthy category, and you see there again on the scale we're closing in on those purples. You never want to be in that purple category when you're talking about air quality issues. So some big time issues again north of Buffalo, north of Toronto. Look at that again. We have that kind of working in this direction. I'm going to show you the actual forecast model in just 1 second for the progression of this smoke. But again, big time air quality issues, and through parts of the Northeast and Great Lakes, we even have air quality issues down towards Atlanta. There are other wildfires burning and other issues that kind of go into that air quality index, not just wildfire smoke, but you can clearly see where we have those issues in the Northeast when it comes to the wildfire smoke. This is a pretty cool tool, and we can go back and forth, and here I have this playing over the next 2 days here, the next 48 hours, starting on June 3rd on Saturday and going out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to back that up for you and start this again. This is basically the forecast model getting in the atmospheric motion here to determine and to kind of forecast where that wildfire smoke is. So we clearly have that highest concentration of smoke again into areas in the southern south of Hudson Bay, and you see the purple. Again, the brighter the colors here, that is where we're talking about the super, super dense concentration of that smoke. Notice the wildfire, again, off of Nova Scotia. You kind of see that. Bring out my telestrator here to kind of point that out for you. But you can clearly see there where we have the wildfire smoke kind of connecting back to the U.S. as that north wind kind of blows south a little bit. I'll put that back into motion. And you see again, it's expected to become a higher concentration down the eastern seaboard. We also have that smoke again coming south of the Hudson Bay and then blowing towards Chicago, even back to the Twin Cities, Minneapolis, St. Paul, and then down towards the mid-Atlantic. Again, all those colors you see there working from north to south. That is the forecast model picking up on that wildfire smoke, again, coming down towards St. Louis, towards Nashville, towards Lexington. A whole lot of smoke across the eastern two-thirds of the country. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. The point I'm trying to make is there are a lot of fires in Canada, and if you've been living in the eastern two-thirds of the U.S., really from the Mississippi River and points east, if your skies have been hazy of late, it is because of those raging wildfires south of the Hudson Bay, and then that relatively new one in Nova Scotia, especially if you live towards Boston, New York City, because of that big fire burning on Nova Scotia. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. If you enjoyed the content, please give this a thumbs up. Again, it really does help us out a lot. And if you enjoy weather content in general, please hit that subscribe button. We'd love to have you as we nerd out and geek out together on all things weather. We'd love to have you along for the ride. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We'll catch you next time.